what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy the video. All right, let's talk a little bit about Brian Polian. As this is a move that... So, okay, I guess if you don't know, I'm sure you do, because, again, I'm the one that's out of touch, not anybody listening to the show. But Brian Polian being moved from an on-field role as the special teams coach to purely an executive role, an off-the-field executive role. You can almost look at it like a general manager role. And this move makes all the sense in the world. And look, I'm not naive. I know that a lot of people are just going to be celebrating that he's no longer a special teams coach and that this is all about how bad he was on special teams. And yes, a lot of that is true. Like LSU was bad on special teams, remained an Achilles heel throughout the entire year. It literally cost you at least one game. You could, you're going to get smashed by Tennessee either way. But it certainly didn't help. It helped you end Tennessee within the first 30 seconds of the game, right? And granted, is that not is that Polian's fault that somebody fumbled? Well, that's just, them's the breaks when you are the special teams coach. And it wasn't just that one mistake. That one mistake was emblematic of a phase of the game that just really struggled last year. And so I guess a lot of people will be approaching this from just a football standpoint. And yeah, I think you're going to upgrade at special teams. And I'm not crazy. They haven't hired anybody new yet, right? Does anybody know? Okay. I didn't see anything, and I didn't want to be left out here. Chad will always keep me honest anyway. But, so, you are going to upgrade on the field, but I do think that, remember, one thing that maybe some people are forgetting is that Brian Kelly's role has been far beyond special teams since day one. And that was kind of the argument why I figured, no, I think they're going to keep him because he's Brian Kelly's kind of hand to the king. He was the first one hired. And if you remember some of the first interviews that he came on and did at this station, everything he talked about was roster management, right? Of course, son of Hall of Fame GM Bill Polian, somebody who you could say has a passion for scouting and building teams. Well, Brian Polian, that's his role. And he talked about the passion that he has for that. And if you look at the requirements, just the time requirements of scouting and building a team in modern college football, they are overwhelming with the advent of things like the transfer portal, but now also NIL deals that need to be struck. Of course, Florida just last week, or 2 weeks ago now maybe, passing a law that basically is taking any guardrails off of NIL deals, now allowing coaches to be directly involved in the facilitation of these deals. And it's something that I imagine that if we're using the past events as an indicator of future ones, then you could probably expect Louisiana to follow suit, because that's just kind of how this thing works. No one wants to have a competitive advantage over the other. And here in the South, there are few things that state legislatures can agree on more than trying to let your college football team have the easiest path to victory. It's one of the beautiful things about football. It's the only time in which the LA legislature can be truly bipartisan and work across the aisle with one another. So I guess what I'm saying is that even though I think a lot of that with the coaches is probably going on behind the scenes right now, that's about to come out into the open. So all of a sudden, the role that Brian Kelly is now operating in is a role that every single major college is going to need to have, okay? There's just too much to be done. There's too much scouting of high school players, too much scouting of other college players. I mean, if you really get into the weeds and you read about the transfer portal era and how coaches are approaching and how you manage these things, they basically have almost like what I would say are akin to intelligence networks, like spy networks, working throughout the country to see, okay, you know what, look at this roster. Who's maybe a little unhappy? And then they're calling their high school coaches. Have you talked to him? Does he like how he's being used? Does he maybe want to go somewhere else? They're calling old family members that maybe they met during recruiting. The point is, it's really, it's almost unfathomable to me. It's almost overwhelming, and it's like, where do you start when it comes to trying to craft your team nowadays? And because of that, and now you're basically negotiating contracts as well. What do you start to feel exactly like? You start to feel like Mickey Loomis. like an NFL GM, building through free agency, which would be your transfer portal, building through high school recruiting, which would be like the draft, except with a little more convincing. And then now having to deal with contracts. Now without the limits of a salary cap, even though in many ways I think a salary cap would be welcome, and in many other ways it doesn't, it kind of works against you here in Louisiana, as the economic situation is such that you probably don't have as much to spend as a lot of these other schools do. So we've talked about it a lot, but like, if you're a head coach of a football team now, can you even coach a side of the ball? Like, how realistic is it for you to be able to keep up with the demands of putting your team together, leading that organization, and still call plays? I mean, even Ryan Day is out here talking about how he may give up play calling duties to Brian Hartline. And if you're like, oh, well, it's probably that time for him. I mean, the thing about Ryan Day is the correlation between Ohio State offensive production before Ryan Day and after Ryan Day is shocking. I mean, remember when, what was his name? Miller. I'm trying to think.
Reggie?
No, the old Ohio State quarterback. I do like Reggie, though.
Braxton Miller.
JT Miller or something, maybe?
Braxton Miller.
Is Braxton Miller?
Yeah.
Is that the one I'm thinking of, though? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's say it was Braxton Miller, right? Like the last year of Urban Meyer pre-Ryan Day, right? Or before Ryan Day joined Urban's staff. Braxton Miller's winning like Big Ten Player of the Year, and he has like 24 passing touchdowns, right? Ryan Day shows up, that number goes to 40. Then it goes to 45. Then it goes to 50, and it stays in the 40 and 50s despite like having 4 or 5 different quarterbacks. I guess what I'm saying with this is Ryan Day is as good of a play caller as you will find in the entire country. And if even he is thinking about, and he's had a huge, very discernible impact on that Ohio State offense, going from being good to great to overwhelming. And so if even he is thinking about giving up play calling duties, and that's just a testament to how demanding these time requirements are. And so I love this move for all parties, right? It keeps Kelly working with a man that he obviously works with very well, his kind of hand of the king. It allows Brian Polian to focus fully on what he has a passion for, which is roster building and all these other off the field sort of management sort of issues, again, general manager, and it allows LSU to upgrade on the field at special teams. So it feels like a win for everybody involved. Another shrewd move by the Kelly regime. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.